Yorgos Lanthimos could just be the most unique, interesting, and important voice in cinema right now. I fell in love with Yorgos because of The Lobster, his film from 2015. I noticed very quickly how direct and angular his style was, and I instantly subscribed to his messages about romantic relationships, societal expectations, and the human condition. I also saw The Killing of a Sacred Deer, which was excellent. Not as much my taste as The Lobster, and I've yet to see Dogtooth or The Favorite, but I've heard incredible reviews. So when I saw the first promos for Poor Things, starring Emma Stone, Willem Dafoe, Mark Ruffalo, Rami Youssef, Jared Carmichael, Christopher Abbott, and Margaret Qualley, it felt like this film was cast literally for me. At the viewing of each trailer, I felt more and more excited for this film, and Jesus Christ, it lived up to the hype, and then some. Poor Things is the story of Bella Baxter, who has the body of a formerly pregnant woman, Rachel Blessington, who took her own life but was brought back to life by Godwin Baxter using the brain of Rachel's unborn child. Yeah, it's wild. Spoilers ahead. The film essentially follows the development of Bella's brain in the fully developed body of her former self, Rachel. The experiment is observed by Godwin Baxter and Max McCandles. Godwin Baxter is referred to by Bella as God, and he is seen by society as someone without morals and a dangerous contributor to science, as many geniuses are, I guess, before their acceptance. Max McCandles is his apprentice. Max and Godwin develop an infatuation and enamorment with Bella in their own ways, but even deeper than that, a true love and respect for her uniqueness that, yes, may have begun as just commitment to the experiment at hand, but develops into this beautiful relationship that really drives the story forward. Bella makes discoveries extraordinarily quickly and desires more exploration, which eventually leads to others finding out about her and getting inquisitive. Enter Duncan Wedderburn, who is played magnificently by Mark Ruffalo. Duncan is a womanizer who represents adventure, excitement, fun, and newness that Bella does not have access to in her current environment. Because of Bella's childlike, adventurous spirit mixed with her physical capability, she's able to logically explain to God the importance of her temporarily eloping with Duncan, who realizes that she's correct and comes to show Max that controlling or restricting Bella in any way would compromise the purity of the experiment and also just be a fleeting effort. So Bella goes to Lisbon with Duncan. Bella engages in a ton of behavior that gives her instant gratification, sex, booze, food, etc., but without any of the judgment that we are conditioned to feel by society for our actions. Because she does not have the memories of a person brought up by parents who transfer their own worldviews to her, because she doesn't hold that conditioning, Bella is able to look at the world with a sense of objective wonder that attracts almost everyone she comes in contact with. Gradually, Duncan begins to abandon his persona of an unreliable ladies' man and falls deeply in love with Bella, which manifests itself in a desire to control her, while also wanting her to stay the same. This, of course, is impossible. Bella's adventurous spirit only finds fulfillment in feeling total control and freedom around her own experience. Bella begins to lose interest in Duncan, not in a malicious way, but in a way that is completely and totally caused by Duncan's confused and immature behavior. She meets other men like Harry Astley, played by Jared Carmichael, a nihilist who shows Bella all of the world's negative attributes and in a way attempts to corrupt her worldview, an unsuccessful attempt as Bella determines that his jaded mindset is just the result of him being a young scared boy, which he doesn't necessarily disagree with. Bella continues to explore the world, experimenting with her own existence, her next stop working in a brothel in Paris. This comes as a result of losing all her money to try to live as a poor person. Like she does with everything, Bella tries to improve the situation, continues to experiment and explore without judgment or expectation, and looks at objective results, a true scientist, you could say. Meanwhile, at home, Godwin and Max have recreated the experiment with another woman as an attempt to have Bella's presence back in their lives, or just to have control of the experiment, or I don't really totally know. Bella returns to her home in London when she receives word of Godwin being sick, and also because of her growing contempt for her circumstance in Paris. She affirms the previously agreed-upon marriage with Max McCandles, and as they say their vows, Duncan Wedderburn enters with Alfie Blessington, the husband of the woman Rachel Blessington who occupied Bella's body before her own death. Because of her nature, Bella is unable to leave this stone unturned and goes to live with Alfie, played by Christopher Abbott. Bella quickly realizes Alfie's version of love is simply his desire for conquest. He longs to own territory, as he refers to Bella as. Bella rejects this, and when Alfie attempts to surgically alter Bella's reproductive anatomy, she throws chloroform and gin on him and he shoots himself in the foot. She brings him back to Baxter's lab and gives him the brain of a goat. Because some men are incapable of allowing others to live in peace, and left to their own devices, they will try to satiate their uncontrolled lust for importance in the form of possessions, going about it in a violent and aggressive manner, so sometimes you just have to treat them as an actual animal. The film ends with Godwin's death. Bella is able to become fully herself at God's death, and the last we see of her is sitting peacefully surrounded by those who are attracted to Bella but have no intention of interfering with Bella's life. Her experiment. They are perfectly content allowing Bella to be fully herself and live in accordance to her own free will entirely. Before I dive into this film, I just have to say Emma Stone has secured an Oscar. Mark Ruffalo may have grabbed himself one. He was just breathtaking. They both were. Remy Youssef was amazing. The entire cast was awesome. Really, the cinematography was breathtaking and also really experimental and unlike anything I've seen before. The score, oh my god, the score is just so spot on. Its progression is that of someone making mistakes, learning the way of the world, experiencing heartbreak, happiness, depression, wonder, life itself, and choosing hope in light of all they've seen. It moves me so much, and it's just so good for this film. The credit sequences and title cards were also so abstract and beautiful, and this is just so magnificent. And holy shit, this was hilarious, like hilarious. Yorgos has this brilliant ability to inject comedy into situations by simply stating obvious truths or using the circumstances as the punchline. It doesn't feel like he's trying to be funny. And while I know Tony McNamara wrote this with him, it maintains Yorgos' style and collaborates with him in a way that just highlights everything he's great at bringing out. Every single character made me laugh just with how ridiculous they were. If you've watched Yorgos' films, you know of this style, and while it is sometimes off-putting, I find it so peaceful to hear exactly what characters think and hear their objective truths. Poor Things beautifully portrays humans, and mostly men's, desire for conquest, control, etc., and also how it is allowed in society, in part because of women's intimidation and self-perceived weakness in relation to men. That the combination of a fearless inner child exploring the world in a fully developed woman's body shows how much women restrict themselves because of quote-unquote polite society, something crafted to do just that and control them. Because of our inherent desires to be seen as good and to do good, we do restrict ourselves based on judgments and decisions we haven't even come to and decided were right or wrong ourselves. We've taken someone else's word for it. And while even Bella herself realizes and accepts some of the benefits to subscribing to certain societally accepted behaviors and ideologies, she shows that most of it is rubbish designed to keep people, particularly women, afraid of full self-expression, especially sexual expression as self-expression. Promiscuity among women is accepted as morally disgusting by polite society, whereas the objective truth of it is that there's nothing either right or wrong with exploring your body with yourself or partners, so long as it does not put your life at risk, which, again, this is far-fetched, but that statement in and of itself is really only a judgment of life and death in and of itself. It's only an opinion, which, yes, it's widely accepted that this exploration is not worth it if it does lead to disease and death. However, this is what I mean by some aspects of polite society can be beneficial, and as it is assumed that everyone values their life and wants it to go on for as long as possible. I hope you're still with me. I thought this film also brilliantly showed how men are so attracted to the adventurous spirit in women, as all the men were with Bella. The confidence, particularly in a sexual sense, is so sought after, but then men trip over their own feet when it comes to that confidence actually impacting how they're able to experience their own optimal life. We see this with Duncan Wedderburn. He is enamored by Bella, and she, him, but because of a fear of things changing, Duncan changes himself into something inauthentic to him. He allows his feelings about Bella to completely alter his behavior and energy, and that leads to her resentment of him. And because Bella never adjusts her own compass away from her truth, Duncan remains incredibly attracted to her and runs many attempts to control and mold her into what he wants, but because she doesn't compromise who she is, Duncan's frustration and attraction only grow, leading him to an actual insane asylum. That's why I feel it's so important to detach yourselves from others, because the same reason you love another is the exact thing about them you don't want to change. However, because of us as humans' inherent drive towards gathering, towards what we see as safety, we want to almost pocket someone to have them to either feel secure or so that we can go conquer other things ourselves. But how can that work? You must allow someone to be fully themselves, or else their resentment will grow and you will become the reason for their frustration, or worse, they will settle into a version of themselves that they don't want to be but stay in out of fear, which, thank God, Bella does not do. As much as characters like Duncan Wedderburn or Jared Carmichael's character rejected polite society, they still so obviously participated in it. And I think it's saying that everyone except Bella is a poor thing because of the judgments we hold on ourselves, how much pain we put ourselves through by looking at the world so subjectively. I also enjoy that this film shows and pokes fun at the different methods people go about to try and attract someone, consciously or unconsciously. There's Wedderburn's dangerous adventure, Blessington's pure control, Astley's existential nihilism, and in Godwin and Max's case, the acceptance of another's personal expedition, their own journey. They saw Bella as a human with her own free will, as technically any of these other methods would not be respecting her as her own existing person. And it's beautiful and makes so much sense that Bella returns to those who have this respect for her. And at the end, we sit with the open-minded people, those who have no interest in interfering with Bella's experiment because they're leading experiments of their own lives. They have the humility to listen and learn from others, combined with the security and confidence to stand on their own beliefs and not seek external validation or try to put on a front for someone else. Bella judges the world with incredible kindness and shows that this world is for the learners, never-ending learners, the open-minded, and it is very interesting that Victoria's mind was opened, literally, to what the world can be by her own child. I believe this film is about the open-minded and about how they're able to experience life in a joyful, objective, wonderful, open, guiltless, shameless, beautiful manner. And I think we could all take a few notes from Bella Baxter. I hope you enjoyed this review of the film. I hope you enjoyed the film. This has risen to number 2 on my all-time list, so I wanted to make a video about it, and I look forward to continuing to rewatch it. Let me know what you thought of it below. I'm sure I didn't hit on everything, but I wanted to share these thoughts. So, yeah,